right, here we go. We are ready to now multiply decimals, multiplying decimals. And this very first lesson, we're talking about recognizing patterns when we multiply decimals. So this first example is multiplying a decimal times a whole number. And I want you just to, as we're doing this together, you are going to very quickly see a pattern here. So just stay with me and we'll do a couple of practices together. And then as always, I want you to go back and do some other practices, okay? All right, so right away you can see there's a pattern here that we're using the same whole number, the whole number 6, and we are multiplying it times decimals down here. This is just the whole number 1, and you guys already know the identity property of multiplication is 1 times any number is just going to be that number. So not much to think about on this one. 1 times 6 is 6, that's right. So we'll go ahead and put that up here. All right, now we're going to multiply. Remember, I've said before that a decimal is not a whole number. It's a piece of, it's a part of a whole. So we're going to multiply this 1/10 times 6. And guys, all you really need to remember here is that we are going to move the decimal point to the left. And we're going to move it to the left because it's a piece of, a part of something. We're going to make a smaller number than the whole number, right? So we're going to take this decimal and we see that to the right we have 1 digit. There's 1 digit to the right of the decimal point. So in a whole number, our decimal point would be right here, right? The whole number 6 has a decimal, we just don't usually put it there, but it's right here. We're going to move it now in our product, we're going to move it 1 place to the left. We are making a smaller number. So here's what our answer would look like. Our answer would be 6/10. 6/10. All right. So let's look at our next one. We have, let's count, how many digits are to the right of the decimal point? Again, 1. 2 digits are to the right of this decimal point. So we're going to take our 6, and here's our decimal point. We're going to move it 2 places to the left, making a smaller number. 1, 2. So when I move my answer and I transfer my information, I'm going to have a 6 here and a decimal point here. Any ideas of what we're going to put there in the tens place? Right, it's going to be a 0. So this answer was 6/10. This answer is 6/100. Okay? So do it with me. The next one. 1, 2, 3 digits are to the right of the decimal point. 3 digits. So now we're going to go ahead and put our 6 over here. You know. So we're going to take this and here's our decimal point. We're going to move it 1, 2, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So my decimal point is really there. And I fill in as placeholders my zeros. And so my answer, although it looks kind of funny with all of this, my answer is 6/1000. 6/1000. Okay? So let's practice one where we're actually multiplying the 10th and the 100th and the 1000th by a decimal. Let's try that, okay? Still the same really concept, but let's go ahead and put another one up here just for more practice. Just more practice. All right, so we'll go ahead with our 1 times, and then we'll go our 10th times, and then let's do our, I know, there's a pattern even in this, isn't there? So 100th times, and then we're going to do the 1000th times. Okay, let's just do a small decimal, okay? Let's do 4. All right. Oops, sorry. I wanted to do let's do 4, 2. There we go. All right. So we know that the answer to this one, identity property, we know that it's just like a reflection back. It's the same number. We don't do anything. Just as if this were a whole number. 1 times 12 is 12. 1 times 2,000 is 2,000. 1 times 876, 876. Okay, so 1 times 4 and 2/10 is just going to be 4 and 2/10. All right? Okay, so we'll go ahead and put this the same. 4 and 2/10, 4 and 2/10. And I think I'm going to actually erase, because in 5th grade, we don't go past the thousands place. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this. And we're going to stop right here. And you'll see why. All right. So just as before, let's count how many digits over here, how many digits are to the right of the decimal? 1. 1. So we're going to take this and we're going to move it. Do you remember which way? Left. We're making a smaller number. Left. So we're going to move it 1 space. And why 1? Because there's 1 digit that's to the right of the decimal. So our answer will be 42 hundredths. See how it moved? See the pattern? All right, let's count this one. 1, 2 digits to the right of the decimal. There are 2 digits to the right of the decimal. So start with your decimal point and move your decimal point. That's what we're doing, is we're moving the decimal point. 1, 2. So my answer will be, you already know, it's going to be 42 thousandths. 42 thousandths. Guys, it's just moving the decimal point. The only reason I'm putting zeros in is a placeholder to hold that value, to make this say 42 thousandths. If I didn't put it in, I'd have 42 hundredths again, and that wouldn't make sense. So you can see the pattern here, that this gets a little smaller and a little smaller every time. 4, the whole number 4, and 2/10, and then to 42 hundredths, and then to 42 thousandths. Okay? Just moving the decimal to the left. Remember, when you see this, you're moving the decimal to the left. Okay. Let's go ahead and review one other thing. Let's go ahead and review what happens when we're multiplying by powers of 10. See what that looks like. So again, we already know the 1 times anything. Let's don't do that. But let's go ahead and do this 10. And let's do the 100. And let's do the 1,000. Okay. And then let's see what happens when we multiply by one of those mixed numbers. A number that has a decimal in it. So let's try this. Let's have, we'll go again with the 4 times 2, or sorry, 4 and 2/10. And we're going to leave that as 4 and 2/10. And then one more time, 4 and 2/10. Okay. Again, we are just moving the decimal. That's all we're doing. But now we have powers of 10. We have the whole numbers right here. Whole numbers here. Not pieces of, like we had before. In fact, you know that this one could be written 10 to the first power, right? 1, 1, 0. This one could be written 10 to the second power, 2 zeros, 10 to the second power, and then 10 to the third power. We could write those like that too. All right, but block this out and let's just move on. So I've got 1, 0. 1, 0. I'm going to move my decimal 1 place to the right. 1 place to the right. So my answer would be 42. Multiplying 10 times 4.2 would be 42. And that makes sense, because think about it. If you were multiplying 10 times the whole number 4, 10 times 4, you'd get 40. So of course, 42 does make sense. Okay, so you already know what we should be close to on the next one. 4 times 100 would be 400. Okay, so think. How many zeros do I have? 2. So ready? To the right. 1, 2. So my answer will be 420. 420. Now notice here that some of you, a common mistake is that you put in however many zeros you see, you just tack on those zeros. It's not about the number of zeros. It's about moving the decimal point 2 places. Only 1 0. Okay? Separate the 2. So now move the decimal point 1, 2, 3 places. Move the decimal 3 places to the right. 1, 2, 3. That's going to be 2 zeros tacked on. So we're going to have 4,200 as our answer. I'm sorry, that's a little wobbly over there. Okay, so guys, it's really important now that you go practice this. Practice it. It's a matter of moving decimals. All right, again, this was lesson 4.1. Good luck.